have taken advantage.
T.J. McConnell.
They have owned this first half and putting themselves in a position where maybe they can take a commanding lead in this series.
Unbelievable offensive display. Second round coverage on TNT.
Good old Cleveland. Oh man, god damn. The Indiana Pacers have put the belt to fucking ass against the Cavs in Game 4. And once the Pacers extended the lead to 41 points, which is by the way the most points scored in a quarter in playoff history, going into the second half, I knew that the Cavaliers were not going to come back from this, and the Pacers will go up 3-1 in this series. I will do a separate video on the Pacers once they finish off the Cavaliers to move on to the ECF for the second time in a row, but as of now, I want to specifically focus on the Cavaliers and how they became the biggest frauds of this playoffs. Now, I know people will ask, hey man, why are you making a video on why the Cavs are frauds, even though the series is not over? Well, because the way that the Pacers beat them in Game 4 is very unlikely that the Cavs were not coming back from a 3-1 deficit. Now, you would actually make that assumption that the Cavs will come back if the Pacers barely edged them out in a Game 4. But with this embarrassing loss, I really don't see it. Basically, the whole Cleveland Cavaliers roster played like anus, most especially Donovan Mitchell. This man, after averaging 41 points per game on great efficiency, suddenly looked like he doesn't even want to be in the court. And so does every guy out there. D-Mitch, 12 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists, shot 3 of 11 from the field, and was a negative 35 on the court. Darius Garland was a negative 21 despite him outperforming the entire team, but he was also dealing with early foul trouble during the game, so he did not help that much. Evan Mobley was a negative 27 and had only 10 points throughout that game. The whole team shit the bed, especially in a pivotal Game 4 of which they need to tie the series 2-2, but that clearly did not happen. Now they're down 3-1, and I've seen so many posts of how Cleveland were down 3-1 before they can come back. Fuck no. And if you guys actually believe this shit, then y'all are delusional. Anyways, the Cavs are by far the biggest fraud so far this postseason, and yeah, they dealt with injuries. Darius Garland missed 2 games, D100 missed 1 game, Evan Mobley missed a game as well, but y'all got everybody back in Game 3, and y'all won convincingly. I expect this now healthy Cavs roster to go ahead and win a pivotal Game 4 since the Cavs have the second best offensive rating in NBA history, and y'all have your best player averaging a 40 piece on great efficiency. Now they're really back and show why there are gaps between the Pacers and the Cavs. Like I said, that did not happen, and actually it was the opposite. It looked like the Pacers, as far as the talent gap goes, it was clear that they were just the overwhelmingly better team than the Cavs. I mean, they got these boys looking like they're some G League players, and even they got T.J. McConnell looking like he's De'Aaron Fox out there on transition, especially the shitty, horrific defense that the Cavs were putting out there. The Pacers just outshot, out-physical, everything against the Cavaliers, and the way that they handled the Cavs, if I were the Celtics or the Knicks, I would be very cautious about going up against this Pacers team, because if you can't handle their pace, you're going to get misplaced quick. And that is a bar, by the way. Before I continue this video, make sure y'all subscribe and turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss any of my new videos. But back to my vid. The Cavs are very likely to get bounced in the second round, and after this, where do you go from here on out? For Donovan Mitchell specifically, yes, he's a star player, but the performance that he put on in Game 4, I'm not really too sure if he can lead this squad to a championship as the first option. And I know it's crazy for me to say, given that he averaged over 41 points per game throughout that series, but still the guy definitely have moments in the playoffs over the years where he looked underwhelming, similar to a Devin Booker in the playoffs, where he'll put up numbers that will get you to think, wow, he might be a superstar in this league, but he will put up a stinker in closeout games. And that's the kind of vibe I'm having with Donovan Mitchell. This guy never made a conference finals appearance once. Yes, not one. Personally, the real issue is that they need more 3-and-D guys on the roster, like ASAP. And also, I feel like they need more veteran experience, guys who have played in championship winning rosters. And also, this might be a hot take, but I do think they should consider trading away Darius Garland, because sure, he did have the best season of his career, but there are so many concerns about his defense, whether or not he can keep up with bigger guards like Tyrese Halliburton, for example. And given that he is 6'1", that makes you an easy target defensively in the playoffs. And I'm not really fond with the fit with him and Mitchell because both guys thrive off of pick and rolls and need the ball in their hands to be effective. And once these guys play off the ball, their impact drops. The defense is where I have more concern over because what we saw against Indiana, in order for the Cavs to beat teams like Indiana or even Boston to get to the championship, they need to add more size and defense on the perimeter. And Darius Garland on that team, especially taking on his max rookie extension deal that he signed 3 years ago that kicked in last year, they really don't have a whole lot of flexibility to add more depth on the roster going into the offseason. So I think it's better for the team to trade Darius Garland to provide a significant relief for the front office to maximize Mitchell's prime by adding as much competent 3-and-D guys along with a very solid playmaking bigger point guard around D Mitch who can spread the floor, don't need the ball in their hands to be effective, can play defense and all that, because in order for them to compete with the likes of the Pacers and the Celtics even, they need to add more depth on the roster. And that means making the tough decision to trade away Darius Garland, so be it. Yeah, D-Mitch might not be up there with an SGA or a Giannis, but we saw what the Indiana Pacers have done. They blew out the Cavs in Game 4 without Tyrese Halliburton not doing too much, whereas Mitchell had to average 40 just for the Cavs to have a chance against them. And even at times, he was gassed, especially in Game 2 of the series. If that's the issue, then more depth is very necessary to take the load off of D-Mitch. So in conclusion, the Cavaliers have been exposed. Defensively, they have been carried by Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. They don't have a whole lot of good perimeter defenders and don't have a lot of guys that can contribute consistently like the Indiana Pacers. So with this L that they took, is very likely it is over and they need to focus on retooling for next season. For the Cavs to win 64 games, have the best offense and top 5 defense in the NBA, along with having the second best offensive rating in league history, just for you to get bounced in the second round, makes you the biggest frauds of this playoffs. So that's it for this video. Comment below on the Cavs. Do y'all think that this series is over? Also, make sure y'all subscribe and turn on post notifications. And that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Signing out.